Transformers 1 is in theaters now. Is this movie any good? Let me tell you what I think. Honest review coming up next. So here we are with another Transformers movie with the Hasbro logo right before the credits. I'm sure they're competing with Mattel. I'm sure they're selling toys. Mattel is bringing out tons of movies, trying to hawk their stuff to us. Here we have Hasbro possibly doing the same thing. My suspicions are up. And yet, you know what? I took my 10-year-old son to this. This is actually a pretty good movie, I would say, for 10-year-old boys, 13-year-olds, period, young teenagers. I think movie is worth checking out for some of you at least. Why is that? I said I have my guard up against Hasbro. I have them up against the algorithms that are making these movies, and the story beats are almost the same, and you can sense where they are. There's usually no surprises in this big corporate product fair. Yet here's the story, and if you got to kind of like things that I like, probably robots, aliens, alien planets, and sort of the political atmosphere of this movie is really kind of interesting to me personally, so that's probably why I sort of like it. And I think this movie works if you know Transformers, know Transformers Origins, or if you have no freaking clue about that. The movie starts off with two best buddies. They're miners, lower class workers. They're literally smaller than the normal Transformers on an alien planet, a robot-like planet where they're mining energy. This movie actually has class concerns. One of the very few movies I can even remember from the past 10 years that cares about social class and the plight of lower wage workers. Anyway, the miners are Orion Pax and D16. They will turn into, as many people will know, Optimus Prime. And what's the other guy's name? Decepticon? I can't even remember. Oh yeah, Megatron. So that Optimus Prime and Megatron will ultimately be mortal enemies, but this movie starts out with them being best buddies in a mining colony. And so how do we go from there to there? It's kind of going to be a little bit of a tragedy, somewhat of a tragedy. It's got some interest that way, in my opinion. Transformers have lost this thing called the Matrix of Leadership. Pretty hokey name, but yet they need to find it in order to have a good leader for themselves. And apparently this is convoluted in a way. This larger robot, so the leader of their planet, Sentinel Prime, is leading expeditions to the surface of the planet. They have a city inside the planet. The surface of the planet contains, this matrix of leadership. Okay, I'm getting weird, feeling weird even describing this. What you're going to come up against is the little guys discover, sort of a spoiler, but not really. I think you can sense this coming, so just be prepared. So the little guys find out that the bigger guys, the Sentinel Prime guy, is pulling the wool over people's eyes. He's a deceptive leader, sort of a Matrix vibe here, where the truths of the political scene are being hidden from these lower class miners and all the Transformers. So thanks to these little guys, Orion Pax, who becomes Optimus Prime, and D16, who becomes Megatron, they sort of find out the truths about their society. And that's what's interesting to me. That's what's going to lead to the split between these two characters who are friends, but they end up being not really, but sort of at the end of this movie, sort of enemies. That's what's going to lead to the split between them. That's why I find it interesting for younger people, even for me, just to deal with the disillusionment of a revelation that is unsettling. You believe in a truth, but it's an illusion, and you learn that you've been hoodwinked, that you've been believing an illusion. What do you do when that happens? What do you do when you're disillusioned? Something that happens to every adult, and probably happens to every adult multiple times, probably should, given all the deception and fraud in the wider world these days. I think this movie is spot on, and I don't sense any sort of political agenda, particularly ideological agenda here. I think it's just dealing with the generality of, you've been hoodwinked, you've been deceived. How do you deal with that fact when you discover the truth that's happened to you and these other more uncomfortable truths about your reality? As for the movie's aesthetics, I actually went to this movie just because I saw about 10 seconds worth of the trailer. I stopped the trailer and said, I'm going to go to this movie, because I thought it was going to be in one of those Michael Bay rock'em sock'em robot bashing sorts of movies that we've had in the last 15 to 20 years. But I was animated, and the one great thing, maybe one of the few great things about movies in the last few years, is that animated movies have been made by sort of nerdy art kids. The Spider-Verse movies, the Puss in Boots 2 movie, for example, where there's been a lot of kind of go nuts and let their imaginations run wild and play around. I went to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles last year at this very time, which was kind of cool animation, novel animation, interesting looking stuff. And that's what I thought this was going to be. Now, I don't think this was on the same tier of those movies, Puss in Boots and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, as far as the wonders of the art. But it is interesting. I was fooled several times that these characters were metal, that I was watching metal moving around on screen. And so I think the animation is pretty high quality here. I don't love that it's in the style of animated movies from the last 5 to 10 years. It's just so fast paced. There's extra chase scenes and special action scenes that probably they don't need to really be there, or you could slow them down or change the pace within them, which I think needs to happen a little bit more. But overall, this movie does look quite good. It sounds quite good. I was surprised at the top name actors. I hadn't noticed a voice acting list in this beforehand, sight unseen. So I was surprised to see or hear Steve Buscemi. Oh yeah, and Scarlett Johansson. Oh wow. Okay, John Hamm. Okay, so we're getting some name actors here that are known probably to the older folks as well. Maybe pleasing them. Overall, I thought Josh Cooley as director did quite well, and this movie, it satisfied my 10-year-old son, who is a worse or harsher critic than I am. I would say this movie is in the 3 to 3.5 star range. That's either sort of pretty good, a little bit better than average, or even rewatchable. And that's how I would keep it, which surprises me with big corporate product fare. I normally don't like it that much. I normally am put off by it, cynical about it. But this one, I actually appreciated because I can pull out of it some messages that I kind of like myself. So my question is, what do you think of this movie? What do you think of anything to do with this movie? Let us know in the comments. Also, clearly, Transformers 1, if this does well, they're going to make Transformers 2 and 3. You can see where the story could continue on. Okay, that could be kind of fun. I would go see the sequel for sure if it at least promises to be a little bit like this and looks like this movie. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to this channel for more great content. Have a great day.